the table by 4 points. And a win tonight could extend that lead to 7 before Man City play again. But with the North London derby just days away, Mikel Arteta has got to make some key decisions with the selection. He's going to have some selection headaches, especially with a few key stars still in the treatment room. So I'm going to break down the predicted 11s for both sides and the tactical tweaks we might see. So let's start with the league leaders, Arsenal. We know that there's big news from the medical room. Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz still are expected to miss out. Arteta is very hopeful that they will return for Sunday. But for the Molineux, we're going to have to look at some different options. So I'm going to bring up the tactics board. Hopefully this is going to work, and then we will get into it. If you haven't done so, like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me. And obviously, if you've got any questions, put it in the chat, and I will try to get back to you. Let's bring up the tactics board. Let's see if that's going to work today, because I am now using the JLA tactics board. So here we go. We have got, oh, hang on. Let me bring myself into this rather than it just, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, we've got the two most recent lineups for Arsenal and Wolves, both having to play in the cup games. This is not what I'm predicting at all for our lineups. I think it's really important to note that obviously there's been a couple of different changes in terms of personnel and availability. But in terms of Arsenal, we had Miles Lewis-Skelly starting at left back. He was originally going to start in midfield. There was the problem with Calafiori going down in the warm-up, of course. That's like the fourth time that's happened this season. So at least we know Miles has been kind of given the opportunity to go in midfield. That was the original plan. So maybe we'll see him in there today. But in terms of a lineup, I'm going to go through what I would like to see. So let's see if this is going to bring it up. Here we go. So what I'd like to see from Arsenal is a back four of Hincapié, Gabriel, Saliba, and White. Now, in goal, obviously, David Raya will start there. And in front of him, it has been a bit of a defensive puzzle. Saliba and Gabriel will almost certainly reunite in the centre. I would be highly surprised if that didn't happen, nor would I really want it to at this moment in time with the North London derby. We need to keep a little bit of continuity, a little bit of consistency there. And I think it's really key that we do that. Now, the fullback situation is where it's really interesting, because Calafiori and Ben White are both fit and have both trained. And they had recent scares. There's reports that Jurrien Timber and Hincapié could start. But with Timber, it's important that we note there has been a slight dip in form over the past 18 months, even though he has put in, let's be honest, elite performances since he had that injury a couple of seasons ago. Since his ACL, he's made 85 appearances. That's over 6,500 minutes. And that's a crazy amount forced upon him. And I'd like to think that's probably because this guy down here, in terms of Ben White, he's just not been available when we've needed to have him. So I would like to see Ben White coming at right back. I think he gives us a lot of options there. He has built up a pretty good rapport with Gyokeres. I think he's starting to understand where Gyokeres likes to move, where Gyokeres is kind of best found in early balls. And I think Ben White is a key part of that. I think it's a really good thing to have. PAFC, let's go through your team a minute before I continue. So David Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel Hincapié. I think that's pretty likely for Arteta, let's be honest. Reece, Saka and Eze. Oh, that is a cooking midfield. Madueke, Gyokeres and Trossard. I mean, I like the kind of balance between what we know of Arteta and what we saw against Wigan there. I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to see both Saka and Eze as much as I'd love to see that. And this is probably the type of game where you can do it. You're playing against a bottom of the table side, as a team that we're going to have to unlock. I doubt they're going to play that open, let's be honest. They're going to play a pretty low block. I do like that, mate. I do like that. And now going back to the fullbacks, the other problem is here because we've got the options of Miles, who played against Wigan. We've got Hincapié, who obviously has been the main choice as of late. And then we got Calafiori, who's coming back in. I've said multiple occasions, I believe that Calafiori has been integral to our build-up and attack this season. He's our kind of defensive maverick, if that's a real term. He gives us the opportunity to have more rotations. He really likes coming inside. He's able to come outside as well on the overlap. I've really, really liked his kind of rapport with Trossard this season. It's interesting how we've moved away from kind of triangles and trios this season, gone more to like bipods and pairs. So Calafiori with Trossard is kind of my favoured duo, but his body's just breaking down at the moment. And with the North London derby coming up, I think Calafiori is absolutely key to kind of unlocking that game. It's the kind of game where a player like Calafiori is really important. So for this game, I'm kind of going towards having Hincapié out there and then Ben White on the other side. I think it's a nice balance having one or the other. I think if you have Trossard in, if you have Timber in, then I think it makes more sense then to have Hincapié in at that point. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? Calafiori at that point. Oh, I've got to get my words out. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see what you guys think about the fullback situation. But in terms of this game, I would like Ben White and Hincapié if I bring him back over here. In terms of midfield, we've seen Rice, Zubimendi. They are our best kind of midfield duo. It's an awkward kind of double pivot, if you could call it that. I'd love to see Saka alongside them as well. I think it gives you the best in terms of balance in this current situation. I think Saka getting closer to Gyokeres is a really good thing. And I've got some hesitance over this because I've said multiple times on this channel, I've said on TDK Plus, on the Instant Reaction, I've said on the Fockles podcast every Friday, that I feel that Zubimendi is adapted to the Premier League, but he's not adapted to the schedule. And with North London derby coming up, Chelsea and Brighton all before the Mansfield tie that we've got, it might be the last opportunity to give him some much needed rest. And let's be honest, Norgard's looked pretty assured in the very few appearances he's made in an Arsenal shirt. So it could be a case where we do leave Zubimendi out, and this goes to our last kind of comment, and maybe you could play a more flamboyant midfield of Eze and Saka, where Eze finally plays in that left channel where I prefer him. You've got those angles cutting in, so you can get him right on the edge of the box. Kind of similar to where he got a lot of his goals against Tottenham. You know, he's able to do that. He's able to break lines. He's a really interesting player. Also, with Eze, gives you the opportunity for him and Trossard to switch. So Eze starts picking out all these touchline positions. Trossard becomes more central. We know how dangerous he is. But it's really difficult. And I don't see Arteta doing that. I just cannot see him do that. So I think he'll probably go with a more tried and tested idea as Zubimendi and Rice. I think Saka, for me, would go there. We'll come on to what I think Arteta will do in a minute with this. Obviously, if Saka goes 10, Madueke will play out on the right. It gives you, again, the rotations between the two of them. They've kind of built up a really lovely relationship, those two. Apparently, Arteta has said Saka really enjoys the challenge of a central role as well. And it allows Noni Madueke, who's in pretty much, very good form as of late, to then stay on that right wing and give us some width, give us the ability to kind of beat a man, beat the press in that way. And I think sometimes we lack the carriers and the progressive runners to beat a low block. So that gives us another opportunity to do it. And lo and behold, the last ones we'll kind of go through would be, for me, Gyokeres up top. I just have not liked Jesus's performances since his return. He's maybe had one match where he kind of did well, which was on his debut after his injury return. Since then, he hasn't filled me with confidence. His hold-up play, his ability to beat the player, there's just a lot that I'm not loving with Jesus, I'll be honest. And although Gyokeres himself has a lot of his own faults, I think him playing in a 2 with a Saka kind of close to him like that could be really interesting. That gives us a lot of opportunities. So I think Gyokeres is our only real option, with Marino and Havertz both missing this game as well. So Gyokeres up top. Let's have a little look at some more of your comments. So Pete coming in again. They'll play a 5-4-1. We need to be creative and break them down. Interesting to see, will they double up on Saka or Madueke? And that's the thing, isn't it? If we can get Saka into these central zones, does that prevent anyone from really doubling up on him? I think it's going to be dragging people all out of position. And Krejci will have hard work. Does he kind of stay inside? Does he kind of come outside? I think they will end up more of a 5 at the back. I think they're going to have to, but it's one of those things. Let's go to Wolves and how I think they'll line up. So in terms of Wolves, I think they'll play with Mosquera, Bueno, and Krejci as their 3. I think Sarr will come back in the team. Obviously, they had Johnston recently, but Sarr will come in, and he had a fantastic performance as of late. I think he had, 35 shots that they conceded, and he was, immense. And of course, a keeper's going to have a good performance against us. We've had that so many times in the past. So it'll probably be those 3. I think Gomez, this is going to be really confusing as well, by the way. I do apologize, because they've got 3 Gomez and they've got 2 Buenos. So I'll try and make it as clear as I possibly can for this. The 3-5-2 will end up being more of a 5-3-2, sometimes a 5-4-1, similar to this. It will depend at the time, kind of in and out of possession, and how we're deciding to build up, and how they decide to, if they're going to press us, how they'll press us. But I think it will look like this. It gives them the opportunity to be kind of compact. It gives them an opportunity to be aggressive, which we know they will be. They rotated heavily in the FA Cup. So expect those big names to return. So Sarr between the sticks. They'll probably have Mosquera there, who we know all about with his antics with Jesus and Havertz. I think Santiago Bueno will be playing. Krejci will be playing, as I mentioned previously. But Gomez, as in Totti Gomez, I think he'll be missing. He's a doubt for this game, so this is probably going to be their lineup. In the middle, I've gone with Angel Gomez. He's been pretty calming presence since his kind of joining in January. Alongside him, keep an eye out for Mane, because he is a fantastic player. He's a player that I'm thinking about doing a video of players that could come to Arsenal from relegated sides. I think with Wolves, they're most likely going to go down. It looks like they've planned for relegation as well. A very good kind of planning. He's a player that I really do like. He's arguably the most dangerous player. He's already scored against us at the Emirates, I believe. And up front, with them missing Hwang, I think Armstrong and Akadare, I think they're the 2 that are most likely going to make that strike partnership up top. In terms of the biggest battles, because I know that there are going to be some. It's probably going to be our right-hand side. I don't think our right-hand side has worked as well as it had done in the past. We seem to be much more fluid on the left this season. Teams, as previously mentioned, teams really like doubling up on Saka, especially here. I mean, it's going to end up being a 3-on-1, but we've got to learn how to get out of this kind of horseshoe shape, and we've got to learn how to break these low blocks. We've been doing a relatively good job of it. I think the addition of Gyokeres has been really interesting. He's not been an absolute revelation this season, but Gyokeres has definitely been someone that scored against kind of the minnows of the league. And I think this is how Arteta will set up to try and break that down. He does revert to type. He is a manager that likes his tried and tested tactics, his tried and tested personnel. So I think Eze will come back into the 10. I think Saka will go back out wide, as much as I think most of us, the majority of us, are probably wanting Saka to go as the 10. I think this is how he'll play. He'll go with Trossard out on the left, a player that is able to break down these low blocks, a player that's very good in these kind of situations that will pull the trigger. And we saw it with the Zubimendi goal a couple of games ago. It was at Sunderland, I think, where Reece had an opportunity from distance. Havertz had an opportunity from distance. And then Zubimendi finally scored. And it was the pass from Trossard that really made it. He gave him the opportunity, the space for it. But he kind of telegraphed that pass to say, come on, hit it. This is what you have to do with the ball right now. And for me, I think it's really important we do that. The only problem I have when we go like this is that sometimes we are kind of getting in a position where Saka and Timber are this way round. We quite often like our fullbacks to come into these positions, and we end up with quite an attacking array of players with just Saliba and Gabriel. We have got to make sure we have got rotations where Hincapié is coming here for the crosses. We've got to get Saka inside and Timber outside, so Saka is able to take these shots from distance on his left foot. It's really important that we're getting our best players inside, okay, rather than having our fullbacks inside. And it's easier said than done, but for me, I think it's vital in terms of getting that, having some rotations where Timber comes out, Zubimendi comes in. We saw the goal from Zubimendi recently from this kind of location. So it's just, it's at the end of the day, as much as they are at the bottom of the table for a reason, we can't take him lightly. We have got to make sure that we are doing our utmost to get the points, because this game is vital. This game is vital for us. If we can win this game, we will then go 7 points clear, put the pressure back on City. We have not been good in a situation where we have played second. We've played after City. This is the opportunity to go and make a little bit of a statement. Could we get a couple of early goals? Can we kind of make that game easier for ourselves? I said on my preview of this game about the kind of MMA idea of feeling your opponent out. I feel we lean into that a little bit too much. Sometimes we look at teams and we work out like, what can we do against you rather than what can we do to you? Can we impose our own methods and methodology into our game? And, when you're playing against Wolves, no kind of disrespect to them. I don't want to discredit them because they are a good side. I think really they probably deserve more points from what they actually have this season. When they played us last time, they had an excellent performance. I think they were really good. But we have got to impose our game. I remember watching the Invincibles. I remember watching the 98 teams, the 2002 teams. we would go out of the traps. We make it as difficult as we could for teams. And too often we settle into this slow rhythm. And against a team in a low block, it's really important that we don't allow them to feel comfortable, because as the game goes on, it's easy for them to grow in confidence. And it's really important that we're making it difficult. I will try to go live a little bit later and go through the actual 11. But let's just quickly go back through my predicted 11. So my predicted 11 will be David Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel Hincapié, Reece, Zubimendi, with Eze. That's what I think he will do. Saka out on the right, Trossard out on the left, and Gyokeres up top. Hope you guys are all well. Hope you enjoyed the little bit of content with the 20 minutes that I managed to get away from the family for a second to do this. Yeah, let's get a win. Before I go, predictions in the chat. Let me know what your predictions are. I am going to go with a 2-0. I've seen a lot of 2-0s, 3-0s. I mentioned in the preview, I talked to MJ, so big up MJ from the Different Not Plus. He's the guy behind the scenes that just does, everything. He runs the show really for all of us mere mortals who just go on the instant reactions. But he's wanting a 6-0. I don't know. For me, can we get a 6-0? I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, I'm going with a 2-0. I think it'll be probably one, maybe just before half-time as we start to grow into the game and kind of understand how to break them down. Maybe another towards the 70th minute. And hopefully we can just bring some players off, get some rest before the North London derby, because Lord knows that is a must-win game. I hate that phrase because it feels like every single game now is a must-win game. But the North London derby is a must-win. Let's go through your predictions. Pete, 3-0 to the Arsenal. I would take that. Oh, give me another Wigan performance with multiple goals before halftime, and I will be happy. Like that's what we need. Kill the game off. Take some players off. Like, as I said, Zubimendi for me, give him some rest. If Timber starts, give him some rest. There are too many players that are playing too many minutes right now, and we've got to use. We talk about us having the best squad in the league, but we've got to use that squad, and it's really important that we're using it efficiently. And yeah, if we get early goals, exactly, mate. Hope you're all well. Take care, and I will try to catch you in the next one. If I am not here live this evening, I will try to do a little review of the game tomorrow. Friday will be the Fockles podcast, the Forder and Wackles podcast. If you haven't subscribed to Wackles, go over there. I mean, he's got enough subscribers, to be honest. But I am hopefully almost at 700 subscribers. So thank you all for subscribing recently. Remember, guys,